They didn't just drop a season finale. They dropped a 90-minute war. The longest single episode in the entire history of From. And based on what we know about what happens inside it, every single minute of that runtime is going to destroy something you thought was safe. The talismans, the clinic, the rope, Jade. Episode 9 ended with the town at its most desperate. Episode 10 doesn't give them a chance to breathe. So let's get into it. The trailer, the leaks, the theory. Because if a tree falls in the forest, it doesn't just fall. It brings everything down with it. There's one line in the finale trailer that tells you exactly where this season has been going. Boyd Stevens, whispering, desperate. We still don't know the goddamn rules. Sit with that for a second. This is the sheriff, the leader, the man who held this town together for years, and he still doesn't know the rules. That line isn't just a character moment, it's a structural confession. The show telling you directly that every plan the townspeople have made has been working without a foundation. And episode 10 is where that catches up to them. Because the plan they're betting everything on in the finale is built on a theory. A symbol carved into a stone talisman. Two figures descending together. Tabitha looked at that carving and said, "It has to be us." Just her and Jade going underground to retrieve the bones of the sacrificed children. And the town, they supported it. They prepped a rope ladder. They chained a truck to the bottle tree. That enormous, ancient tree sitting directly above the cavern entrance. And they planned to rip it out of the ground to open the shaft. Here's the problem. Victor tried to stop them. The boy in white visited him and said, "You can't let that happen." And Boyd had Victor arrested. That decision is going to haunt every single person in this town. Here's what the show has been building toward all season, and it's genuinely terrifying in its elegance. The protective talismans have one job: keep the monsters out of the safe spaces. Everyone treats them like magic charms, but they're not passive. They're a map. The carved figures on the stones aren't decoration. They're a pictorial record of the original ritual. Two specific people descending into a subterranean chamber, surrounded by celestial indicators tied to the solar and lunar cycles. What does that mean? The protection of the talismans is tethered to the physical presence of the children's bones beneath the earth. The bones are the anchor. The bottle tree growing above that burial site, it's the spatial coordinate of the entire system. You pull out the tree, you sever the anchor. The talismans don't just weaken, they go completely dark. Every single one, simultaneously. So Tabitha and Jade descend to retrieve the bones, which is the right move. But the extraction plan to uproot the tree above them is simultaneously the most catastrophically wrong thing anyone in this town could do. They're trying to open a door and destroy the lock at the same time. And Sophia has been watching every step of this plan get finalized. And smiling. Let's talk about Clara. She's been in the background all season. Quiet, forgettable, which is exactly why she was chosen. The man in yellow, now inhabiting the body of teenage Sophia, cornered Clara with a knife in Sarah's empty room, and performed a blood-mixing ritual that bound Clara to the entity through a covenant she made when she first arrived in FROMville, just to survive. That covenant just got called in. Sophia forced Clara to spike Fatima's drink with a toxic blood mixture, and Fatima, who by every medical metric should already be dead, started deteriorating in real time. Hair loss, necrotic black veins spreading across her torso, agonizing abdominal pain. She's transitioning into something we've seen before, something the town already fears. But here's Sophia's real masterpiece from episode 9, the piece that locks in the finale's catastrophe. While everyone was preparing the rope ladder, their only exit route for Jade and Tabitha, Sophia slipped a knife through the fibers. One cut, invisible, and the entire extraction plan is now a death trap. And just to seal it, Clara locked Elgin inside the diner with the unmasked entity. His fate was left deliberately unclear. Based on what comes next in the finale, it isn't good. Now we get to the part that's going to make people stop scrolling. The verified leaks from the series' dedicated communities, cross-referenced against the trailer imagery and Episode 9 setups, paint a brutal picture of what happens when the finale kicks off. Underground, Jade and Tabitha find the stone slab. They slide it open. The scraping noise wakes the creatures, who immediately begin swarming the cavern. But then something unexpected happens. The falling bottle tree above punches a shaft of direct daylight into the ceiling of the cavern. The creatures, biologically or supernaturally vulnerable to sunlight, can't enter that lit corridor. A standoff, in the dark, with a rope ladder dropping down from above, and then the ladder snaps. Tabitha escapes with the bones, boosted up by Jade, but Jade is left in the cavern, alone, as the solar cycle shifts toward night, and the creatures wait for the light to die. That's the underground story. Above ground, it gets worse. Smiley, the reborn creature that Fatima delivered, infiltrates the clinic, and Marielle doesn't survive it. The clinic, the one place that felt like guaranteed safety, is destroyed as a sanctuary in a single violent sequence. Concurrently, Henry, fully consumed by Sophia's blood hallucinations, retrieves a firearm from the sheriff's station. He corners Victor, intending to kill his own son to sever the anchor of the dream. It's only a sudden intrusion by Ethan Matthews that breaks Henry's trance. Victor survives, but just. And through all of this, Sophia is moving, building toward the finale's actual climax. Here's where it lands. Sophia, carrying every single protective talisman she's systematically stolen from across the town, walks to the faraway tree. And she's met there by the boy in white. What follows is one of the most revealing exchanges in the entire mythology of From. Because the boy in white and Sophia, the man in yellow, clearly know each other, deeply, historically. Sophia comments on how much the boy in white has grown, suggesting he's a younger, evolving force within the pocket dimension. The man in yellow, by contrast, is ancient, stagnant, a parasite. The boy in white tells Sophia, "You're going to lose this time." Sophia doesn't blink, doesn't hesitate. She casts every single talisman into the spatial portal of the faraway tree. Gone. All of them. Every barrier between the town's domestic spaces and the creatures of the forest. Gone. And that's where the season ends. Not with an answer, with a strong new war. Because Season 5, confirmed as the final season, isn't going to be a mystery anymore. The residents of FROMville now have no protection, no wards, no rules to even understand, let alone exploit. Boyd said it himself, we still don't know the goddamn rules. Well, now the rules don't matter. What's coming next isn't a psychological horror puzzle. It's survival warfare. And the only path to breaking the cycle permanently runs through the Lake of Tears, the geographical edge of the pocket dimension, the lair of something ancient. Something that's been feeding off this town's suffering for centuries. Before you go, 2 questions I want you sitting with all week. 1. The boy in white told Sophia she's going to lose this time. What does he know that she doesn't? And is that connected to why Victor has survived every single cycle while everyone else gets reset? 2. Fatima's transition, the golem she's been building. Ancient folklore says golems destroy their creators. If that creature animates in the finale, who does it kill? Drop your answers below. I read every single one. And if you're not subscribed to DramaCrypt yet, hit that button right now. Because the moment the finale drops, we'll be the first ones breaking it down, frame by frame, leak by leak, symbol by symbol. See you in the dark.